Hey everyone, BigDaddyB-Man here, and welcome to the second installment of Milestone Island, the series where we'll be discussing what a fourth zapping island, based on reaching milestones, could look like. I want to immediately start out by saying thank you to everyone who watched the original video. I know the second video has been a pretty long time coming, but trust me, I can tell that this is a series I just had to continue. Last time, we looked at Tutor Scooter, the monster unlocked by getting 2 rocks, and the tutorial for the zapping mechanic, as well as Knocker, the monster unlocked by getting all of the naturals on the first 3 natural islands. Today, we'll be discussing 3 new monsters that will join the roster and flesh out the Milestone Island song. Oh, and for those who are new, I'm not composing a song for this, but you can, just as long as you credit me. My fan kit will be in the description. And with that, let's move on to the first monster of this video. Naturally following up Knocker, we have Gluggernaut, who was unlocked via getting all of the natural monsters on Water Island and Earth Island. Those who left comments explaining their ideas to me generally shared the consensus that there should be a monster unlocked in this way, and I couldn't agree more. I actually pulled from these comments quite a bit for some of the monsters in this video, so don't be afraid to let your ideas out there. There's no guarantee that I'll be using them, but I like to see what you all can come up with, and if I like it enough, there's a good chance that it could be used. For example, as you'll see very soon, Gluggernaut takes a bit of inspiration from McDuck9458, who said that the monster could be pirate-themed because of its association with water and earth. Anyways, Gluggernaut's inventory would consist of every natural monster on Water and Earth Island. That's all 5 singles, all of the doubles but Maw, 7 of the triples, and 2 of the quads, combining into a total of 23 eggs. Despite having a smaller inventory than Knocker, this monster would produce more coins than it, although not by much. If Knocker had the production stats that were comparable to, let's say, Riff, then Gluggernaut would probably have stats comparable to or even greater than Choristers. Another option would be giving it the coin production of the same level as a Wordo, but I'm on the fence as to whether or not that would be too good. Oh, and by the way, I'm talking about the production of these monsters at level 15. I do want these monsters to be worth the time after all. Moving on to the actual design of this monster, I based it primarily on the frogfish, whose almost rock-like appearance made them a great candidate for a monster themed around the water and earth elements. I had a lot of fun incorporating the pirate touches I added, such as the sail-like lure and the missing eye. The cherry on top is Gluggernaut's mouth, which is filled with water as well as piles of riches. Since its mouth is so full, when the monster sings, it makes a low, gurgling sound. It's not meant to add much to the song, but it's the first vocal on the island so far, and it's a pretty unique one if I do say so myself. Gluggernaut, our last natural-based milestone monster, for now, is not complete, meaning it's time to move on to a new class, Fire. Our next milestone monster, Kraken, is unlocked by completing the collection of all common natural and fire monsters on Firehaven and Oasis. As you expect, it needs 1 of every egg of the monsters on these islands. So that's all 6 singles, 6 natural doubles and all 5 fire doubles, Breedling, Congal, and 6 fire triples, and 2 quads, totaling up to 27 eggs. Now, for the currency that this monster would produce, if you think back to the first video, I said fire-based ones would produce relics, and Ethereal. While I still do intend for this to be true, I have made the decision that Kraken produces primarily coins. Now wait a minute, hear me out. It also produces relics alongside coins sometimes, about 1 relic a week. I came to this conclusion because the 2 Fire Islands are relatively early game, where coins are still the main currency. Relics are considered to be much more late game currency, and even late game islands like Amber Island have monsters produce relics in very small quantities. Before you unlock Amber Island, the only sources of relics are from the wheel minigame and the daily login. And again, these are often very small amounts of relics. So, to keep in line with the game's progression, handing out a monster that gives you a relic a day so early seems too powerful. Hence why I decided to give it mostly coins. It would produce more coins than Gluggernaut, but not that much more. Now that all the technical stuff is out of the way, let's move on to the time-lapse, and arguably one of the most stressful drawings of my life. Despite being second in this video, Kraken was the last monster I drew. In fact, all the monsters in this video are out of order, as the final monster you see was drawn first. I saved Kraken for last for good reason. Even the concept art was a little lacking in my opinion, so I knew it was going to be tough to convert to pixel art, so I just pushed it further and further off. Once I did start on the pixel art, I immediately made the mistake of making its head huge. I have a limited amount of space on the website I use, and it was already short on space for the concept art, so yeah, not out to the best start. Despite that, I'd say things went pretty smoothly until I got to the underbelly. This part gave me a lot of trouble, and you can see me redoing it again and again. Eventually, I got rid of the original, more unique designs because I couldn't get it the way I wanted, and I'd rather settle for good enough than something I think looks awful. I mean, I hated how Spark Kraken looked for a while. I took like a 2-day break before coming back to finish it. All in all, I think I can say I'm alright with how it turned out. Like I said, I can settle for good enough, and I really don't want to spend any more time working on this monster. Oh, right, the sound. Spark Kraken has little sparklers on the end of its whiskers that light up to create a loud, brassy synth sound. It creates one of the main melodies of the island, similar to Eureka on Ethereal Workshop, for example. Speaking of Ethereal Workshop, let's talk about Mythical Island. The final monster for this video, Cyclock, is unlocked once every common mythical and dream mythical have been collected on Mythical Island. That may seem like a pretty big jump in game progression, but not every milestone monster I create will be made necessarily in the order I expect players to unlock them. And hey, the recent map update, which changed the order of the islands to fit how new players are likely to go through the game, has Mythical Island after the Fire Islands. But then again, it has the Magical Islands after Ethereal Island, so it's not exactly the most reliable source. No matter what though, Cyclock is definitely the most difficult monster I've created so far. Getting all the mythicals on their own takes a long time and lots of luck, and getting all of the dream mythicals is even more time consuming. To compensate for this, Cyclock only needs all the mythical eggs, since as of now, there's no way to zap dream mythical eggs. Of course, that means having to get lucky and breed the mythicals on the natural and fire islands a second time, but it's fine. So far, mythicals have only been associated with coins, so Cyclock will produce them as well. And with it being so difficult to get, it's gotta make a lot of money, easily outperforming the Wordos and even Wubbock with how much it can produce. With all that being said, it's time to move on to the design of this monster. Cyclock might be my favorite out of today's set of monsters. I'm really proud of the way I incorporated Mythical Island's motifs into the monster, such as it being gray, and of course the big mythical sigil in its eye. Speaking of its eye, you may have noticed how, based on the name, this monster takes inspiration from the Cyclops, which I settled on once again thanks to McDuck's comment, saying it could be based on Greek mythology. Once I had the idea to combine this imagery with an alarm clock, and of course the pun in its name, there was no looking back. Cyclock would be one of Milestone Island's main percussionists, keeping with the theme of how most wave islands start out with at least one prominent percussionist. I mean, I know this isn't a wave island, and I already said the Cyclock will probably unlock much later, but we need some drums, damn it. It pounds its fist to make loud impact sounds, similar to Knucklehead or Sporo. The pendulum swings when the clock hands move to the beat. And the two bells on its head can ring, functioning kind of like a metallic snare. It wouldn't be anything spectacular, just making up the backbone of the song for future percussionists to build off of. That's all I have for you today. Our 3 new monsters will be joining Tutor Scooter and Knocker to round out the current population to a nice 5. Before I wrap things up, I want to thank all of you for helping me reach an important milestone. Sometime after I started writing the script, my channel reached 500 subscribers, and as of now, it's even more than that. I was planning on doing some sort of collaborative song to celebrate this, but before I get to announcing anything, I just want to gauge how many people will actually be interested. I know that there's a decent chunk of people who aren't subbed for MSM, so I just want to make sure that I'll have enough participants to create a full song. So, if you're interested, let me know in the comments. If I deem there to be not enough interest, I'll just end up saving the idea for a future sub goal. Anyways, I'll leave you with one final thank you. Peace out, everyone.